Hi guys, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to share with you guys some things I learned within my first year of college. So let's get started. To begin, I'm going to tell you one thing and get this straight. It's not high school. It's called college for a reason because this kind of hit me hard. I was a 4.0 student in high school and I always worked super hard, studied all the time. And I was like, okay, like college probably can't be that much different, right? Well, let's just say it's different. So I did the exact same thing as I did in high school, but let's just say my grades definitely were not anything close to what they were in high school. And that's like what showed me is that college is much harder. And you have to try, like, you have to go the extra mile to make sure you can get the best grade as possible when you take a college course. And so with that, study. Studying is pretty much the only way you can get through college. You have to do it. If you didn't do it in high school, you have to do it now because you can't just think, oh, I go to class, I'll be fine on the exam. No, you have to study. And then cheating, don't even think about it. If you get caught cheating, you can be like, I can't think of the word, I'm blanking. Oh. Anyways, you'll be kicked out of college and you don't want that, so don't cheat. Study, do yourself a favor, and learn the information, remember the information, and kick that test in the butt. Alright, next thing is get involved. College is just a time of new experiences, meeting new people, and if you're not involved, you're not going to get that full experience, and then you're going to doubt it later on. Join clubs, go to events, put yourself out there, and just most importantly, be you. You'll be surprised with how many new people you'll meet, and they'll become your friends too. I met quite a few of my friends that I have in college right now through my calculus class. You got that, calculus. I hate math, and calculus was not good for me at all. I struggled a lot in that class, but because I stepped out of my comfort zone and talked to the people that were around me on the first day of class, I got through the class with them, got to study with them, and we got through it together. And socializing is just the main key. You have to say something. You have to say hi first and introduce yourself, because if you don't, no one's gonna, you gotta be approachable in order to be approached. And then being involved also helps you get a break from doing homework and other like projects you might have to be doing for classes. And getting a break is also important for your mental and physical health. And speaking of health, go to the gym and be active. This helps relieve stress and avoids the dreaded freshman 15 that everyone tells you about when you're going into college. This, I'm telling you, the freshman 15 is definitely a lot easier than people may say. If the dining hall food is really tempting and you're gonna want, oh, let's get that 2 rounds of protein and all those carbs, because let me tell you, the dorm hall food I had, they had some really good mashed potatoes and white gravy, let me tell you. I got those every time they had them. But working out is super important, and if you don't do it, you can really get foggy up here and just feel really tired and not be giving it your all for your academics. So that is definitely important, and ways to help that is getting like someone to go to the gym with. So having a friend or a buddy come along with you to help motivate you to feel obligated to go to the gym every day or at least 3 times a week. Just getting there and doing something. I mean, it doesn't even have to be like lifting or intense. It just needs to be like, you could shoot hoops, go play tennis, just do something that's getting your heart rate up and helping ease your mind off of all that stress from homework and tests. So this one is gonna be the biggest topic for me. That was the biggest change I honestly would have to say, and that's living with a roommate. And let's get started into that, is all I can say. So what I suggest doing is be considerate of one another. For me, I had only shared a room once, and that was with my brother when I was like 10. And then once I turned 13, I got my own room. So I hadn't shared a room with anyone for about 5 to 6 years going into college. So sharing a room with someone was definitely a new experience. And my roommate I met online, and we hadn't met in person before we moved in, and maybe that played a factor, but definitely just try to get to know your roommate as much as possible. I know some people do random picked roommates, but definitely go into open-minded, but just be considerate of each other. And like examples include when people are sleeping, be quiet, try not to wake them up, or like make a lot of noise because that could wake them up. And like if someone's doing homework, don't blare your music, and use headphones and have it on a pretty decent volume so that your roommate can't hear it. Just simple things like that. Number 2 is cleaning up after yourself. It's not just your room, it's both of yours room. And so if you make a mess on, like, you spill something on the floor, like vacuum it up, sweep it up, whatever you need to do to get it cleaned up. But definitely don't just let it laying around, because it's not really fair for your roommate to have to pick it up for you. And this also goes for like your living space. So like if you guys share a rug or anything like that, make sure you guys are both taking time to vacuum it and make sure the area is clean, because like me and my roommate, we both shed a ton, so there's definitely a lot of blonde hair all over the floor, and it had to get vacuumed up at least once a week, or else it was in between my toes, and I did not really appreciate that. And then another thing is respect each other's living spaces and their things. So for me, and I imagine it'd be the same for other people, you go into college, and since you're sharing a room, you're like, oh, I'll bring this and we can share that and whatnot. So if you're borrowing something of someone else's, make sure you keep it clean or put it where it was supposed to be, and that you would treat it as if your own, you know, like, or even better. Because I mean, personally, if it's mine, I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm gonna use this TV remote and I'm eating Cheetos and I'm gonna get Cheeto stuff all over it and then not clean it up, you know? Just think about that, and again, be considerate. And then not everyone's roommate situation is the same as yours, so you can't really compare it to that, but just again, be open-minded. You might not be the bestest that's definitely not a word. You might not be the best of friends like you thought you'd be, but that's okay. As long as you get along and you can make the best of it, that's all that matters. And I know there are options most of the time. I know from my school there is that you can request to switch rooms or get a different roommate at semester. And so that's definitely an option, but I would recommend trying to do the best you can before considering that option. And then everyone is an individual of their own, so respect one another as an individual and try your best to make things work, like I said before. It might seem impossible or super annoying, but again, we're each our own individuals, so everyone's gonna have their own differences. It isn't gonna have the same opinions as yours, and you're gonna have your own pet peeves, but just do your best to take a deep breath and get through it. You'll be okay. It's only 9 months. I know it sounds like forever, but you can get through it. Learn about each other's preferences before going in to live together. That is definitely probably important, because I mean, for me, it wasn't a big deal. Like, we made it work, but like I go to bed at like 10:30 on school nights, but my roommate liked to stay up pretty late. But that was okay, because I could go to sleep, but we'd turn the lights off and she'd just watch shows in her bed or whatever. So that was fine. We made it work. And see if you could ever agree or come to a consensus of what is expected for the room. For our room, we had to sign a roommate agreement, so we had to come to an agreement, consensus, of how we'd like things to be done in our room. So how often we would like the room to be cleaned, what the temperature of the room should be set at during the fall, and then winter, and then the summer / spring, of course. And then like what time is like to probably go to bed around. And then oh, there was another one, but just definitely coming to an agreement on how you think things should be done in the room, and then definitely try to stick to that agreement, because everyone should do and hold up to their part. And that's all I have for my college tips, but stay tuned, and there'll eventually be a college essentials, as in supplies and stuff that I think you should pack for moving into your college dorm room and getting ready for classes. See you in the next video, guys. Thank you.